Hello, my name is Tomasz Amon, and I would like to tell you today about my experience in the virtual reality creation of the projects in virtual space. I have been doing this for 20 years, and I would like to tell you now about my vision, about my experience, and how I think you can also do similar things, because this then makes the stuff that you are telling about much more interesting for the audience. Let us start now. So now I have posted the PowerPoint show, and this is the virtual reality application called ZBrush. Years ago, in the middle of the 90s, it was more or less books and everything in 2 dimensions. But then the computers came, and the education with the help of computers started, and we found out that somehow we live in 3 dimensions. Now with advanced software on this field, it is possible with ease to create 3-dimensional objects and projects. This is a simple cube, and I can draw on this cube to make eyes and nose and mouth. Oh, this is already a little, you see, if you can turn it around. Now let us paint it a bit. You go to Polypaint and make color eyes, and then choose some color. Let us choose some blue color for the eyes. Oh, I should, here you have to put RGB. So now we have blue eyes and red mouth. And so you can then go on with such stuff. Me as biologist, of course, I'm not interested so much in cubes. I'm more interested in living cells and such structures which are difficult to see with, without special microscopes and similar equipment. So let us turn to a sphere, and we can also draw, oops, wait, this is not the right one, this is the right one. So I set also the radial symmetry here, so if I draw just one stroke, then suddenly appear a lot of them. Maybe we take some more striking brush and a little larger. And now it appears something like a sea star. Let us make it here a little more flat. Flat, trim dynamic, flat, and so that the bottom is not, and so on. You can imagine how it goes. This is not a course in this modeling program. The aim of this is just to show you how you can do it and make some inspiration for your future projects. This way you can make more complicated characters. This character is in my educational game represented as food. You can change it to show that it is not only a picture. You see, you can expand its arms and or ears and so on. And the another one is macrophage. This is also from this game. I shall show you the game later on in my talk. It is much bigger than the food, and it is produced in the interior of the cell. My educational game is about gut microbes. The science had found out that there is the number of microbes in our gut is almost, or let us say roughly 10 times the number of the cells we are built of. This is because these are bacteria which are then also sometimes it is more of them. If you eat some antibiotic, it is less of them, and so on. You can't say how many they are in one moment, but as they are replicating very fast, the number can increase exponentially. So the macrophage is the danger for those. It cannot enter the lumen of the gut, of course, but if some dangerous substances come into the blood, then it can attack them. The other protecting agent is the antigen. The antibody. The antigen is just the opposite. It looks like the antibody. It is, of course, also here modeled. And then let us look at something more abstract. This is a set of spicula of a sponge. So to show you, I showed you before how I was modeling kind of a sea star. You can imagine that this thing here was the beginning for this object, as I started to show you a few minutes ago. So you can make more difficult, more demanding object, and such things are interested for 3D printing. We shall now, from when we model here, we have two ways of proceeding. One way is to go directly to the 3D printer. I shall speak first about this. And the other way is to proceed to animating software and then to software for producing a virtual reality world. I speak in the next stage about this. Let us now first speak about the 3D printing. If you want to 3D print this, it is very easy. You just go here to plugin. I put it here to not to disappear, and we have 3D print exporter. We just say, first we make update size ratios, then we say how should it be large. Let us say it can be 50 millimeters high. Oops, 50 millimeters, yes, it is okay, 50 millimeters. And then I export this directly. And here I have already STL. This is the name of the extension. It is the type of the file that can be read by the slicing software, but I shall not go in the details of 3D printing. This is not the point of this lecture. I would only like to say that I obtained the 3D printer in September and I am still learning to work with it. In fact, the 3D printer is a very misleading name. One should better say this is something like CNC machine or so. It is now today buying a 3D printer is like buying a car 130 years ago. At that time, not only it was much more expensive than a car today, but you also needed the mechanics to travel with you, or if you were yourself passionate mechanics to repair the car in the middle of the road. So there is a lot of open difficulties you encounter with a 3D printer. It makes fun, but be prepared if you start to do this stuff. Good. Now we can proceed to the next stage. If you have some questions, please don't hesitate to ask. The next stage is bringing this into program for animation, because this program just produces very nice models which can be painted, and if you want to use them in a game, they of course need to move around to change their shape, and this will be then the next stage. So let us go a little through the PowerPoint, because I have it. I made PowerPoint also for the case something goes wrong with the presentation, but I hope the presentation is okay. You see my screen well, and so this is then a short recapitulation what I have just explained. These are these two objects I was showing to them, and there is the living cell. I come now to this point. So here it is. What you have seen before is from my website. I can show just to so and so. Here you have all the stuff, and you can browse this. You have the slides. See, it is just what I am talking about. and a lot of you can download here. I am producing now for Android devices, so if you have a mobile phone or a tablet that runs on Android, you just download it, and or if you have an Apple iOS machine, this is iPad or iPhone, it runs at least as good as on Android. So the market for Apple iOS is larger, at least in my case, than for Android. People like it. Now let us go back to that program to speak about here. Oops, this is it. This is the cell you saw the pictures. This is prepared for bringing into the virtual reality world. Only the colors fail. In this case, I put the colors later on in the virtual reality world, but if you have some painting like on that face, then you bring them directly here. I shall show you later how it looks like. Typically, you don't export this as a whole system because it is large, but you export the nucleus and then you export the Golgi complex and the legend, and you save it as FBX file. If I, for example, select a part of this legend, not now to look around for every word that is here, I just select it and then I make file, export selection, and FBX export is already chosen, and I can write legend, and it will be then exported as legend, and then it goes on. Another thing, I was speaking about antibody before. This is antibody as you have seen it in the ZBrush, and now it has been brought into Maya. You just press a button on ZBrush and it comes here, so it's straightforward, along with pictures. But you have to add animation here. If I make it transparent, you see these are the bones, and the bones are the ones which define the animation. This object behaves similarly as an avatar, as a human object, but it is more general, it is not just like human, and the animation is made here. On the other hand, if you have objects which would you like to behave just like human objects, walking, running, jumping, and so on, this happens in Unity, which is the program for making the game. You just export skeleton there, and that later program makes the animation for you. The animations are there already prepared, and you mix between them. You will see later. This one is a bit special, and if I move here the time slider, you see it moves around. There are several, as I have just said, you have walking, running, jumping, and so on. And these animations are here made one after the other, and then later on they are put into, they are segmented, they are cut, like messenger RNA is cut, and so on, if you mix a little with biology. This is kind of walking, this is kind of looking around, and this is dying, in case it is overcome. And then it goes on. You export it in the FBX format as I showed you later, before, not later. Let us go on. This is the macrophage. You have seen it already, and the story is more or less the same. This big cell is depicted as jump, not walking, jumping, then looking around, and in case it is not successful, it finishes. So let's continue here. This is more of the cell. As you will see, I made also viruses, I shall show you. This is the Ebola virus, so you can discover it without being infected. You get these applications for free. You just download it from my site. You get the links on my site, bioanim.com. This is HIV virus structure in virtual reality. This is influenza virus structure from outside and from inside in cross-section. And here it is not only the structure, you have the animated in space animation of transcription of the nucleic acids and creation of proteins. And I started there with implementing the avatars. At the beginning, I said to myself that if you are making educational software for people who would like to learn fast, then also they should travel fast in the virtual reality world. So they travel, for example, from the whole cell into the nucleus, then from nucleus to the endoplasmic reticulum, and then to Golgi complex. But as we had this Imicivili project, a Tempus project, then I was persuaded by my colleagues that it is very good to have somebody walking there to make it a more personal touch. So I started to use avatars. So you can now also walk around in these worlds and explore what is going on by walking. This is about the viruses. Oh, this is already the game. So now let us go to Unity. This is the last program in the chain of free programs I use. Mainly, I use also other ones, but this is the main workflow. Here is the cell you are already familiar with. Now it has reached the last stage. I start the simulation now. This is as you would see on your mobile phone or iPad or tablet. Here is the knob for settings. The settings are hidden here, because if you have a smaller screen, then it is not nice. You have a lot of buttons and then you don't see what you are doing. The most important maybe is the help, which is description what is going on. There is typically a different description on each scene. You can also hide the text. Sometimes if you have a slower mobile phone, it is practical because it is much less objects. If you have a lot of text, the text is in fact three-dimensional objects which take computer memory. Yes, and then you can close all this. And here you go to the next viewpoint. Now we are observing mitochondrion. This is the nucleus. You can rotate around and explore, but I'm just going the guided way from one point to the other now in order to save time. This is the nuclear membrane with nuclear pores. This is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The name rough comes because it is covered with ribosomes, which are the factories which produce proteins from the ribonucleic acid. And then these proteins travel in the endoplasmic reticulum further to reach the smooth endoplasmic reticulum here on the top, more periphery to the cell. The proteins then exit in vesicles. They exit the endoplasmic, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and come to the Golgi complex, which is here. In the next step, they can then be excreted out of the cell. These are lysosomes and peroxisomes, which are important in cell digestion. And the centrosome, which gives origin to the microtubules. It is important in cell division. And the mechanical structure of the cell is the microfilaments of different kinds. Also microtubules, the mechanical part of the cell. So that was it. We can now stop this one, and we can now have a look at the next one. which is what would be now. Yes, as we were now in the mechanical, maybe we have a look at the protein which moves along the microtubule. You have just seen the microtubules. They are very important in a kind of a rail, like a train goes on the rail, the vesicles travel on the microtubule in order to be transported somewhere. And the protein which does this job is named kinesin. Here above you see the vesicle, and this is microtubule, and it goes so. The next important thing in motor proteins is of course the muscle, which is, let us start it. The muscle is composed of myosin and actin. These are myosin filaments, the big ones, and the small, the red ones, are actin filaments. And there is also titin, which like a spring helps in the mechanical properties of the muscle. You can look it from other side and closer. And you see how it works. It is like in a rowing boat. And this is the end plate. It composed this one of the, this is the Z cap, and the Z line is called histologically the whole structure. Oh, that's it. Let's go on. Yes, kinesin eye structure. Now we can have a little view of the sensory structures. I covered a lot of sensory organs in my project. This is the eye. As you see, you can put on, but let us leave and go on. To have the structure, the lens, which is accommodating. This summer I had the surgery of the retina. I had the retina detachment, so this is a little personal, but it was made before I had this surgery. They made it very well, and it's everything okay. This is forehead, the place where we see the best. Is the sensory cells are most concentrated there, and that was it. Just one of the sensory organs. And now the famous Ebola virus I was showing before. This is the Ebola from outside. It is 100 nanometers long. This is not, it is more, but this is the measuring rod for 100 nanometers. And so you deep down inside the structure. You see it is very densely packed with different nucleoproteins. And finally there will be RNA. We are approaching it. The last sheets of nucleoprotein is now RNA. So, and now it comes a more dynamic thing. This is the game I have been doing in the last time. I shall start it, but before I start it, I would like to say that your feedback is very much welcome here, and together we can make it more interesting and more educational. This is you, the avatar you have here above your life points. They have already been quite reduced. You can walk around either pressing the finger, or you can just, you will see now I go out of the gut lamen. This is the macrophage there. Somehow I escaped for this moment the dangerous object, so I'm still alive. But I don't have many points in the moment. This is here. This is kind of a factory, a kind of living cell where the macrophages are produced. You can look more from above by using this slider, and the other way of moving around is just to click on a spot, so yes, and then you run on that in that direction. This here is the toxin, I should avoid it, but because my life is already finished, you see this was a great mistake. Oh no, it was not so bad because I had the right answer and I got the points. I was lucky. This is the antibody. The antibody, if you get in time, if you are performing well, then you get a larger number of antibodies that are surrounding you and protecting you from dangerous toxins and antigens. But now it's not so bad. Now we can go to show you more. How did this food is not? This is antigen, dangerously shooting around. They also have their lifetime, and then when they die, it is good for you. Here are food objects which are going outside of the gut in order to produce good elements like macrophages. Yeah, this is antibiotic. I used this robot so far as antibiotic, which does not, it's quite inert now. It does not neither attack you nor help you so much. Yeah, here to show you here, this kind of snail is like a bus which brings the antigens, and now I approached them too much and I died. So now we can restart the game. There is good food and bad food. If you jump into the bad food, then you get antigens, which is of course not good for you. You see now I died much faster. Let's go once again to explore more. The good food, of course, there is the cucumber. The cake is also bad food. You see if I go here, up, then it's not and not very good now in playing. So here we see, now I stopped the game. This is, as you see in the creation window, these are different objects which have their names. This is just for my purpose. You don't see this when you are playing the game. What is inside here is the lumen of the gut. It is gut in transverse section, and around there is the body tissue, which now only one object is in this body tissue which is fixed, and this is that kind of living cell where the macrophages are produced. And this, what you see here, this is the canvas that gives different messages to you when you are playing the game. So how does it look here? So if you have some questions, please say. I shall return now to the oops, I have to PowerPoint show to go further through the PowerPoint slides. Yes, we saw antigen attacking and then antibodies which are defending you. They are here. Then we have that famous cake, the dangerous cake, so to say, and the macrophage producing factory in the back. This is the gut. This is the gut border. Inside is lumen of the gut, and on the other side it is the body, the somatic cells. Here is a bad moment when you die. And here you are very well protected with antibodies and macrophages. You are quite safe here, and you still have a lot of living energy. You also, as happened in my game, but I didn't explain you much, there are kind of quiz situations. You have 3 objects, And if you bump into the right objects, then your life is very much increased. You have many more life points. And that's it. I recorded this on video on YouTube, and here below are the links that you can watch. We can maybe visit, maybe it goes. Yes, this is the first video. 20 years ago, it was only... That's me yesterday. The computer education was still starting, and it came to my mind that it would be nice not... Any questions? And what is... I forgot. No, I think it's all. So, that's it. Okay, thank you very much.